It's filming. All right.
So are we gonna go tete-a-tete or at the camera, or how do you want to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather just like we're having a conversation. So I just want to welcome everybody for the next installment of the Turntable Discussions. I have Nick Kane here with me, and I met Nick through the internet as he was scratch building brass locomotive. And depth of knowledge from this guy, both from a historical standpoint and from a mechanical standpoint, like I would consider him like an artisan. So we're going to spend some time on the front end here, just getting a sense of who Nick is, how he got into this, and then we're going to dovetail out, and I want to show you some details with this locomotive as Nick guides us through some of the process that he went through in order to get it to look like this. So welcome, Nick.
Thank you. Glad
We
to be
are
here.
in Fiddletown,
Yes.
California, which is like northeast or
South of Placerville and east of Sacramento.
east of Sacramento, right?
Put you there.
And we're in this remarkable workshop that has like a 12-foot ceiling, and that's a whole nother video. So I always like to start off with what's the imprint? What started you down the path that got you to scratch building locomotives?
I'd say trying to actually duplicate a photograph to the best of my ability. So,
But the interest in railroads came from
my two grandfathers and my father.
modelers or railroaders?
It's just into HO, stock stuff, nothing.
Right.
As you're a kid and you're playing with that kind of stuff.
Right.
And, we'd only have a layout out at like Christmas time,
Right.
sheet of plywood.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So-
Basics. But that was, okay, so your dad was into it? Now
He was a sign guy and into antiques and stuff, so a lot of that, the history part gets in there.
a sign, like he collected signs?
No,
or?
he's a sign maker. Kanewood Signs Limited in San Mateo, California.
Oh. Is this like hand painted stuff?
Yes. Sandblasted, hand-painted signs.
Wow. Okay. So that's, because what you don't know is Nick is
Antique restorer.
yeah, but with such attention to the detail and accuracy, it's remarkable. So you stayed with the hobby after your dad?
Kind of, as a kid, doing train stuff, it was just on the holidays. But then when I moved up here and had my own place, bought this building, I had the space to do it. And I've had two layouts. And I said the third one, I'm not going to have regrets, and I'm going to do a really nice job.
And the prior layouts were HO as well?
Yes.
What were you modeling then?
Mostly mining.
Okay.
What I was interested. So what I wanted to depict was all the different types of mining. So hydraulic mining, placer mining, different stuff, hard rock. Show it all. So basically a diorama.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the locomotive actually never ran around any of that up here.
Okay.
But I had to have the train.
Right.
So that was one way to do it rather than a static model with nothing moving, right?
Yeah. So mining, what was just because of the location here?
In my interest, yeah.
Okay.
In the 19th century, gold rush.
Do you have anything left over from those layouts?
A few buildings.
Okay.
Buildings and stuff like that.
Right.
I gave the actual foam layouts to my nephew.
Oh,
used them
cool.
For something, so they didn't go to waste.
Right. Yeah. So your plan is to build a prototype, a freelance prototype.
At this
freelance?
point, what I'm concentrating on is doing sections of the old Sacramento Valley Railroad, which was very early in California. The first run was in 1856.
Okay.
So that ran from Sacramento up to Folsom. And it's a pretty straightforward layout I could do in modules and very detailed. There's a lot of information, which is great, on the different grades and how many feet, and
So you plan on have some grade to it?
there wasn't much grade.
Right.
Which is great.
Fraction of a percentage.
Yes.
But yes.
Nothing over 2%, of course, but
Right.
there's some very unique bridges. There's one big bridge that went over what they called Negro Bar outside of Folsom, which was an extension for the California Central Railroad.
Okay.
That went north to Marysville, but it's very small window. So I'm basically going to do probably 1856 to about 60.
Okay.
So antebellum for you guys.
Right.
It's all pre-war.
So with this era, and you had those prior layouts, what kinds of equipment were you using in your prior?
BTS.
Oh, you were.
Bill's cars.
Yeah, and the locomotives?
this guy.
The generals.
Of course.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. I never liked the Rivarossi. I like heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And I like older stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, we all choose our paths.
Yeah, and the
Some guys go
Rivarossi.
Bachman, some guys go Rivarossi, and I didn't like the shape of that American, locomotive, the Baldwin,
Right.
larger.
Right. Which I think some guys say are a little bit later than our era, but
69, I think.
yes. You're gonna do this. Is the layout, because there was a guy once that wrote a great article in NMRA Bulletin, and he talked about how to decide what kind of layout you want, and he broke it down into 3 categories. One was dispatcher, somebody who likes to see a lot of trains going on his layout.
Right.
Another was the engineer, someone wants to do switching. And another one is the rail fan, someone who just likes to see trains go through cool scenes.
Right.
Do you have a sense of what your layout is
Probably
going to be?
probably the scenes.
Yeah.
So it'll be vignettes, and I'll probably start it doing modules.
Right.
Some possibly even only 16 inches deep, maybe even 12.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yes.
I've seen that. You can do so much with a good backdrop.
Do you have
and actually divide it and run it around this way, kind of how you have yours with with your backdrop here.
Yes. Yes.
2 sides on. I mean, you could have 6 feet or 4 feet, right?
Right.
And split it.
Right.
And have it like a peninsula,
Yep.
an island.
So you have a sense
Lot of
of
thought.
length of this layout?
Not sure yet. That's why I
12
said
feet?
modules. I'm going to build up to it.
Right. Yeah, we have one of the guys in our group, a guy named Mike Willigal. He's doing the same thing. He's building, although he's got a
I've
space
watched
set
this
up.
same.
Yeah,
I like that.
he's got some brilliant work.
Yes.
Now, this locomotive. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to pause here, and then I'm going to zoom in with the camera onto the locomotive, and Nick is going to give us some specific indicators as to how he went about scratch building this brass locomotive, which blows my head up. Hang on.